was asking some of the guys about this earlier, but what do you feel like in the second half you got back to defensively that may have been missing the previous 3 games?
I thought there was a level of desperation, energy, physicality, and connectivity. There's some great clips of us playing together, playing for one another, really putting the effort in and making second efforts. So it's a really good example of what we're capable of. I think we've shown a lot of that this year, but we've taken a little bit of a dip post our COVID situation, and we got to get back to that.
Milwaukee a little shorthanded, but the challenges they present, especially with Giannis in the line.
Yeah, I think Giannis is, such an incredible player. I think he makes them a threat no matter who's out there with him. But him and Middleton will certainly lead them and cause all sorts of problems for us, and we'll have to be engaged and physical and ready to play.
Steve, I was just wondering about Kevin's shoulder. Is that still something you guys have to monitor, or did his time away in protocols maybe make that further along?
I think he's fine.
Hey, Steve, twofold. When you have a road record, as you have, do you have any kind of theory or explanation as to why you guys have been so unable to build that kind of home court advantage? And I'll wait till you answer that. I'm sorry.
I don't know. Sometimes that happens with teams. I think it's great that we have a good road record, but it certainly would be, something we should seek to improve at home. I think we don't start games as well as we would like to. And just haven't had maybe the same kind of intensity at home as on the road, perhaps, if you look at the totality of our games, but I don't really have an answer for you.
And now you're going to have completely different rosters, basically home and road. Do you take kind of a simple approach and say, I'm just going to slot Kyrie in on the road and then move somebody into 6-man and then try to keep it as simple as possible? Or do you look at it and say, listen, I have to tear it down to the screws and just rebuild my rotations and figure all of those out from scratch to see what works best? And if you take that approach, how long do you expect that sort of thing to take?
Yeah, I don't think that's the approach. I think it's to be simple. Two things. I think one, keeping it simple is best for everyone. I think two, something's always going on with our squad and availability. So we're mixing and matching often, seemingly. So, I think keeping it simple in this case is probably the best way and the way that makes the most sense. And, I think if you strip it all down, you're probably overthinking it as well.
Coach, you mentioned Chris Middleton. What makes him worthy of getting some extra attention and game planning defensively that maybe the casual fan pick up on?
I think he's, an elite and efficient scorer. He can score at all 3 levels. He can score in isolation, in pick and roll. Obviously, he spaces the floor and shoots extremely well off Giannis as well. So, he kind of has a vast offensive arsenal, and he also has the experience and chops. So, if you add it all up, he's a proven winner and a terrific offensive player.
Following up on Brian's theme about road stuff, do you worry at all now about your guys are more excited to play road games because, Kyrie's there, it's a better team, whatever, in their minds, and just won't have the same intensity when they play at home now?
I hope it's not that way. I don't know that our guys really even take a pause to think about if we home or a road. I think it might get their juices going to get in the building on the road and be like, oh yeah, we got Kyrie tonight. But I don't think they're sitting at home going, no fun at home without Kyrie, fun on the road with Kyrie. I really don't think they think that way. I don't even think it's on their radar. I think they're excited to play the game with each other. And we just have the, the added bonus of having a terrific player join us on the road.
Steve, following up on all of that, you've obviously done it for 3 months now, but what is the single biggest adjustment without him now that you've started this kind of half in and half out?
The biggest adjustment to have without Kyrie?
Without Kyrie.
I think his talent, he adds things that we're thin at, penetration, shot creation, shooting, the spacing, all those things he brings to the table. We haven't had Joe Harris for 2 months, basically. It leaves us thin in the shooting department, the spacing department, and then you add to it, his otherworldly ability to play off the dribble, off the ball, on the ball, whatever it is. So, I think we certainly miss Joe, and Kyrie can fill some of that, but then obviously Kyrie is Kyrie, so he does the other things as well. So, it's just great. We wish we had him all the time, but we're happy that we have him half the time.
So Patty Mills t-shirt night looks good on you. He's played well this season. He's a veteran, and then the Kyrie situation is probably affecting him, the most. From your perspective, again, he's a veteran, but how do you coach him through the limbo of road games and home games, and so that he can stay effective for you?
Yeah, but I think for me, the Kyrie situation hopefully helps Patty. I think we've seen him kind of almost be overused and over-dependent on. And I think it's been difficult for him at times to continue his level of play because we've overburdened him. So can Kyrie keep his minutes in a sweet spot where, he can keep a consistently high level? He's been terrific on and off the floor. I mean, he's unbelievable to have in our group, but, we have asked him to play a lot of 30s and high 30s during these kind of last month or so. And, without Joe, without Kyrie, that's a lot. That's a big burden on him. So, can this help him stay fresher and stay at a high level? Would be the added or the additional bonus of having Kyrie back for Patty.
Greg Logan.
Steve, I'm on Zoom. Following up on that, with Patty, is the simple thing just to keep him then with the second unit and keep his minutes at that level and not ask him to bounce back and forth?
I don't think we can do that without Joe. I think with Joe Harris out, we just need his shooting, ability, experience, spacing, all those things. So, but, eventually I think with Joe coming back that, he could find a more comfortable amount of minutes. That doesn't mean he still doesn't play 30 plus some nights, but, not all the time where we're really taxing. He plays with such pace. He plays with such energy. His hit when he plays in the 30s, it's a lot. He doesn't manage himself, similar to Joe. They can't manage themselves. They have to play extremely hard to be as good as they are. And so that's the added burden when they play longer minutes.
Hey, Steve, I think tonight's the first time Milwaukee can hear since Game 7 this summer. I was just curious how often you thought about it this summer, and when you did, what did you think about it?
I think the reflection on the series, obviously is one part the disappointment of injuries. On the other part is what could we do better? What can we learn from this? What can we take from this? And part of that's difficult when you expect to have, you don't ever plan to have guys out at that critical moment. But you also look inward and try to be reflective on what you can improve and what you can do. And like I said, some of that is difficult because you don't plan, but you always look back on those things and think, what could we have done better? And I think a lot of it is, it's 50-50 on whether it's valid or not. So, but it's still a great experience to go through, to push your resolve, to ask questions of your approach and all the decisions you make as a group.
Thank you.
Thank you.